Hi everybody, welcome to my homestead and welcome to my channel. In this video, I want to talk about the Salt Lake Temple and the two doors on the east side that are locked and sealed. So if you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe, like this video if you end up liking it. Make sure to share it on your social media and then also leave your comments. So there's something that I forgot about these two doors that Betty Horn reminded me of in a comment, and I'm just going to read it. She's responding to my video about the new church symbol and how coincidentally, or maybe not so coincidentally, the new church symbol fits perfectly into the doors. When you have the entire symbol together, you see this right here, these are the steps, and the new church symbol perfectly fits in this area. Okay, so she's responding to that video. And she says, something to think about. Who is the real architect of these sacred places? Yeah, exactly. Perhaps he is the reason for the continuity. When I first became a member, I was told that those doors were sealed because Christ himself would break the seal and enter there. In the 1980s, a man dynamited those doors to prove that wrong. Okay, the doors stood. The finish on the doors was the only damage. And then she says, she was there when it happened. So let me show you that really quick. I guess there's like a picture of it. You can see the damage. It looks like there was probably like some broken windows up here. And I think that's what it says in this article. I'll put this in the description below in case you want to read it. And it seems like maybe, I don't know if these little circular decorations were glass before, but it looks like maybe those were punched out. Or broke or shattered or whatever the case. This is what it looks like today. And I don't know, I think those are metal. They look to me like they might be metal, but I'm not sure. Or maybe it's glass behind there, and then there's this metal artwork that goes inside the circle. But in any case, that's what she's talking about. This is what happened. But yeah, the door is still closed. It doesn't look like the door itself exploded. Okay, so I remember hearing this myself. I think I was probably in primary. And I remember there was this one time that we made a trip to the Salt Lake Temple and just walked around temple grounds and looked at the symbols and stuff around the temple. And it may be there where I first heard it, but I completely forgot about it until Betty Horn just reminded me. So thank you, Betty Horn. So I wanted to find if I could find anything that backed that up. And I did. So I found this article. This is byustudies.byu.edu. And I think this is kind of an older article, but this is where you can find it. Okay. Okay. The house of the Lord. Because the temple is the earthly sanctuary of the Lord, it is physically set off from the world. The traffic outside the wall of the temple is now frequently heavy and noisy. Well, I mean, maybe around, rush hour, but actually it's kind of usually quiet, I think, with the exception of tracks that, there's a light rail that goes by there all the time. Within the wall, there is an environment of peace and beauty. Aside from the peace attained within the walls of Temple Square, the positioning of the temple within those walls adds some symbolic elements. The main access to Temple Square is from the north and south gates, which are located in the center of the south and north walls of the square. So if you're not familiar with Temple Square, here it is right here. This is the north gate. This is the south gate. Up here, this is the conference center, right? So you just like cross the street and then there's the gate. The south gate goes directly over here to this side of South Temple, and it goes to the City Creek Center, which is like a mall. It's like a mixed retail and residential development. Okay, but these are the two, like, I guess you could say, main entrances to Temple Square. Okay, a secondary gate is located in the center of the west wall of the square, which is this one over here. Here's the tabernacle, and you can see the crosswalk right here if you're coming from the family history library. And I think this is like the church museum. You cross this like crosswalk right here, and then about right here, this is where the gate is. And the first thing that you see is the tabernacle right there. Okay. There was no public access from the east until very recently when an eastern gate was made. None of these four gates center on the temple. Okay, well, the west gate, like I said, it's like right here. I guess it's not exactly centered on the temple, so maybe that's what it means, but I don't know, it's pretty close, but we'll just go with what the article says. The east gate, you can't really see it because of these trees, but it's about right here. Let me see if I can find a street view where maybe you can see it. It's like right here. You see that? So it's kind of like obscured, but it's like definitely not, it's not centered where the temple is. You have to walk over here. Okay. The front of the temple faces directly into the east wall, less than 75 feet away. In fairly recent times, the thick masonry wall directly in front of the temple has been replaced with a high ornamental iron fence, making the temple more visible from the street. Or not so much the street, as now it's the Main Street Plaza. It used to be Main Street, but the church bought it up. I think it was like sometime when I was like either in junior high or high school. But you can see that fence right here. So it's saying that this wall that you can see right here, it used to go all the way across here, but they took this portion down and put this fence here so you can have a better view of the temple. Okay. However, there's still no access to the front of the temple from the street or the Main Street Plaza. The temple could have been placed where the tabernacle now stands, making the front of the temple easily accessible from Temple Square's main north-south pedestrian mall. Remember that the temple was begun over 10 years before the tabernacle was begun. So let's go back to satellite view. So it's saying if the Salt Lake Temple, which is here, was right here instead, then if you came in through the north or the south gate, it would be easier access, right? Because you would just like come up here and then boom, you're at the front of the temple. Okay. The temple actually turns its back on people entering Temple Square. Clearly, easy casual access for visitors was not the intention in positioning the temple on Temple Square. Yeah, exactly, because you come in here, you come in here, you come in here, its back is to you. You come in over here, its side is to you. The temple is further set off from visitors within the walls surrounding Temple Square by inner fences and walls. So, and you can see that here. You see this like dark line right here. This is fencing similar to the fencing that's over here. And then over here is a wall that goes all the way from here, all the way to the northern perimeter of Temple Square. So this whole area right here is fenced off and walled off. So, okay. Even those that come to Temple Square to attend the temple do not directly enter the temple. They enter the temple annex through a small gate in the north wall of the square. And that is over here. So basically most people will come over here, park at the conference center parking lot, which is pretty big. And then you would come over here. Let's take a look. Oh, that's an awesome. Okay, this is a terrible. Okay, let's try that again. Okay. Let's go here. Is that the one that I already did? Yes, that's the one I already did. Sorry, everybody. Sorry. How about right here? How about right here? Okay, so here, okay, in this case, we're inside Temple Square. Okay, here it is. So here's people, coming, going. Here's the gate. So if you were to attend the temple's over here. The reflecting pond is over there. You would come in through here, turn to the right, go down this ramp, and then over here are some doors where you can find the temple recommend desk. Okay, so that's how you get into the temple. The entrance into the temple itself is via an underground passage coming from the north, from where I just showed you. One is reminded of the various courts that set off the Temple of Solomon from the world. That temple was not only in a holy city, it was also approached through a series of courts to which access was increasingly restricted. Yeah, because if you're familiar with the ancient temples, first you would come into the main walls right here, and you'd be in this outer court. And then you would pass through another gate right here, the Nicanor gate, and you'd be in the court of the Israelites. And then after that, you have the court of the priests, which I assume were only for priests and for Levites. And then you go over here into the holy place, and you have to be a priest. And then the most restricted area would be the Holy Holies right here, the Holy of Holies, which is where the high priest would go in only once a year on Yom Kippur, back in ancient times, right? So just more and more and more restricted the further in you go. Okay, the walls around Temple Square and the somewhat serpentine entrance into the temple seem to be a reflection of the tradition that temple should be a sanctuary set off from secular world. Okay, now here we go. So why does the temple face east if the east doors are not for regular worshiper access? The dedicatory plaque on the east face of the east central tower holds the answer. So of course we are talking about, you know what we're talking about, right? That is, let's go right here. We're talking about this right here. This is the dedicatory plaque right here. Okay, and that holds the answer. Ultimately, the temple is not a house for man, it is the Lord's house. The eastward facing position of the temple on the square reinforces the millennialism of the gospel. Just as the east central tower welcomes the untrammeled light of the rising sun coming from the east, so it'll welcome the Lord at the commencement of the millennium. Quote, but the Son of Man will come as the sign of the coming of the Son of Man, which will be as the light of the morning cometh out of the east. This prophetic doctrine was reaffirmed in 1956. The Los Angeles Temple was the first in the 20th century to include an Angel Moroni statue on its 257-foot tower, which I've been there before. I didn't go through the temple, but I was there for another reason. It's really large. Architectural plans called for the angel to face southeast, as did the temple itself. President David O. McKay, however, insisted that the statue be turned to face due east. Most, but not all, LDS temples face east, symbolic of the anticipated second coming of Christ, which Christ compared to the dawning in the east of a new day. Thus, the dedicatory plaque is not a casual sign. In one sense, it is an announcement to greet the Lord when he comes to his house at the second coming. And in that same logic, I'm pretty sure that's why these doors are sealed, because of the point that it's making here that this is the Lord's house. This is not to be like an entrance for man. And the fact that these are the east doors and they're facing east, yeah, it's kind of a clear symbol that it's like we're waiting for Christ to come to the temple, and he may literally come through these east doors. I wouldn't be surprised. Because I'm sure that this isn't the only literature about it. It's just what I could find for now. The temple's position facing the east wall of Temple Square reminds us that this is not our house, it is the Lord's. We go to the temple to be taught of him, to adjust our lives to the Lord in order to understand his ways. So there you have it. We have these eastward facing doors. They're sealed, they're locked, you can't go through. Just like over here in Jerusalem, you have the Golden Gate, which Christian tradition and Jewish tradition hold that, well, for Jews, they believe that the Messiah is going to go through there to go to the temple. And then for Christians, maybe not necessarily our church, I haven't really heard anything official about this, but Christianity at large, there's a tradition that Christ for his second coming will go through there, right? Through this sealed area. And it's interesting because it parallels the Salt Lake Temple, how there's like these, I mean, it's one gate, but you can see that there's like these two arches. And that's interesting because the Salt Lake Temple has these two doors right here that are sealed. You can't go through it. So I find that really interesting. If I find out anything more about it, I'll let you know. But it's pretty clear that at the very least, symbolically, this part of the temple, the eastern part, is the part that greets the Savior. You have the angel Moroni facing east. You have the dedicatory plaque right here. And then you have the two sealed doors that, like I said, at least symbolically are waiting for Christ to come during the second coming. So, and again, we have to think about this over here. This right here cannot just be a coincidence that they decided to make the church logo in these very exact same dimensions as these doors, right? Because you see what the implication is here. You have a shape that matches the east doors of the Salt Lake Temple. And here in the middle, you have a resurrected Christ, because the resurrected Christ is going to be the one that comes to his temple in the second coming. Now that, of course, is if, because I have the theory that he may come to the Salt Lake Temple, because I'm not so sure that we're going to have New Jerusalem built in Jackson County when he comes. I think that Salt Lake, maybe for right now, could be considered the New Jerusalem. Just like how we had a tabernacle, in the wilderness with the Israelites. It was a temple. It was a portable temple. And that's where the presence of the Lord was. And that's where the body of Israel was until they, came into the promised land. So, I don't know. I'm not saying that Salt Lake is the New Jerusalem for sure, but I think that right now, if you were to point to a place, that Salt Lake City would be the current center place, and the New Jerusalem, and the Salt Lake Temple would be the current temple of New Jerusalem. So it would make sense that this is a definite possibility, that Christ is going to come to the Salt Lake Temple, and then you just have this very interesting church symbol that seems to most likely reinforce that idea, along with these sealed doors. So you'll have to let me know what you think. I find it fascinating, and I think there's a really good chance that is the case, that's what's going to happen. All right, if you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe, like this video if you liked it, hit the notification bell, leave your comments, make sure to share this on your social media. And once again, thank you, Betty Horn, for bringing that up. It's just another piece to the puzzle, I think. And I'll talk to you guys later.